Lotus. It's ridiculous. Oh,
oh my God. Oh my God.
All right, so I didn't actually buy a Lotus. So huge thanks to Lotus and Maserati of Greenville here. They don't let me borrow this thing for the last few days. And I figured I've got to let you guys know what this thing has been like to drive, because it's just been incredible. This one that I'm in here is a 2020 Lotus Evora GT. So apparently the name Evora comes from Evolution, Vogue, Aura. Of course, it fits with the common Lotus naming convention of all their cars starting with the letter E. Esprit, Elan, Exige, Elise, now Evora. So if you're not familiar with Lotus at all, they're based out of the United Kingdom in England, and they really have a strong racing heritage, and their cars are really well known for being incredibly good handling cars. So as a car manufacturer, they only make around 1,500 cars a year, so they're pretty rare. You don't see very many of these guys running around town. So much so that when I told my wife I wanted to go look at one, you know, she was like, Lotus, why have I heard that before? And then she quickly remembered that it was the car from Pretty Woman.
Wait a minute, that's a Lotus Esprit. You ready?
I am ready.
Hang on.
Okay.
Here we go.
And the sound, oh, amazing. Just like, I just want to hear that engine revving all day long. So the main reason I went looking for one of these cars is because they're starting to get cheaper than a brand new Toyota Camry. And then on top of that, I always loved Lotuses. I thought the Exige was an amazing looking car, and the Elise, they looked awesome, and they looked pretty affordable for what you get for the money. The only problem was when I tried to sit in those things, I mean, it was like impossible to get in and out of them. The door sill was so wide, the steering wheel didn't move or adjust, and it was so low, like I literally had to crawl out of the car to get out of it. And so I wanted to see if that was still the case with this car, because I've heard that larger people could get in and out of it. I'm 6'1", so I wanted to test that out. So we went to the dealership, ended up talking to them about it, and sure enough, I fit in the car just fine, and then they offered to let me borrow this one for the weekend. So I was like, I've got to take you guys for a ride with me. Now I wanted to kind of show you what it's been like to driving in it, see what it feels like. This car just begs to be on a track where you can just really just jerk it around. I mean, it's just so responsive. I mean, just a tiny flick of the wheel and it just goes exactly where you want it to go. It's like it's glued to the ground. It's really hard. You just got to drive one of these things. It's really hard to explain. I know this video is not going to do it justice.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Oh my God. I felt it grip.
Yeah.
But that scared me.
So strange enough, since I mentioned this car is actually cheaper than a Toyota Camry, it actually has a Toyota Camry engine right behind me. It's got the 3.5 liter Toyota V6. That guy also is paired with a supercharger, giving this thing about 415 horsepower, 0 to 60 in like 3.8 seconds. It only weighs about 3,100 pounds, so it's super light, has a good bit of power, and it sounds incredible. I just love the way this thing sounds. Whatever they did with the exhaust, it's perfect. My wife and I went all the way up to North Carolina this weekend. It was like we spent probably 3 hours up and back and forth in the car, and she loved it. I mean, really, the seats really hug you really well. I mean, it's a great little car. And I'm going over some pretty rough roads right now, and I gotta say, the suspension doesn't beat you up. I mean, for as grippy as it is around these roads, I mean, you really don't feel it in the car. It does a really good job of, it's got a balance of it, absorbs most of the bad stuff, and lets you still have fun in it, which is awesome. Backup camera, very convenient. So you can see just sitting here, I mean, the car is, I mean, very well laid out. It's very comfortable. Steering position I love. I mean, it's got a telescoping steering wheel. You can push it in and out, pull it out. I mean, that's great. The seats, they got this awesome carbon fiber. I'll show you that in a minute. but I mean, the buckets really hug you very nicely. I mean, they're wide enough for me. I'm 6'1", about 180 pounds, but they fit me perfect. I mean, they're really good. Got some nice adjustment forward and back. I mean, you got a lot of room here. I mean, I can't touch the pedals right now when I put it all the way back, so a very tall person could sit in here. In fact, one of my friends is 6'5". He got in here and fit just fine. Now, getting out maybe another story, but at least getting in, he was able to get in with no problem. From a ergonomic standpoint for driving, it's just very well laid out. The shifter is awesome. I mean, I really like the way the shifter feels. It's a short throw. It's got a nice feel to it. It's very easy. I mean, I'm by no means a professional driver. I could, barely get around this thing. I mean, I do drive a manual every day, but not a spirited manual like this one. There are some trade-offs with this car, right? I mean, because it's a limited production car, they only make around 1,500 of these a year. You can see some things like these stalks here for the turn signals, the air vents. I mean, they look like they're kind of taken out of other cars. They're probably from a Ford or something like that. And then the entertainment system here, this is an Alpine unit, but it took me a little while to find this out. It does have CarPlay. You just stick your Apple phone in here, throw that there, unlock it, and then, let's see, we'll go back home, menu, CarPlay, boom, now it's got CarPlay. So that's pretty cool. You got the maps, see where we're at, directions to get home, go back to the home thing here. We can do text messages, all that good stuff. So from that standpoint, I mean, that as long as a car's got CarPlay, to me in 2020, I'm totally happy. Like, that works good. Now it's got a little Bluetooth mic here. So now the Bluetooth mic looks like the one that I put for myself in my Jetta. Little things like that, right? You see some of the trade-offs with the car, but overall though, it's just so unique looking. I mean, it's just like, I love the outside appearance of it. It's also got heated seats, buttons here, and I find these buttons to be very satisfying. They have a nice little push to them. I don't know. Oh, beautiful. So one of my favorite buttons in here is the little exhaust button. Now, it may look like, I don't know, what would you say this looks like? I would love for you to comment down below to know your thoughts, because to me, I could see like maybe a little oval with a mountain in it. I don't know. But you push that guy and the exhaust gets a little louder. It's got a cutout that makes bypasses part of the muffler or something. I don't know, but now you can hear the difference. It's got a little extra throatiness to it, a little deeper sound. I keep it on all the time because I think it sounds awesome. Now, you've also got sport mode here, which I haven't, to be honest, I know I haven't used sport mode. I mean, I was just trying to get used to the car in its normal stance. The normal driving mode has been totally fast enough for me. I suspect if I owned this car and was driving it every single day, then I would, put it in sport mode eventually and start feeling what that was like and the differences. But only having it for a few days, I just didn't want to change things up too much, And then there's also, you turn that off, there's also race mode, which I was instructed to never push that button.
Dare said going to Stacy.
So,
would you like to reply?
CarPlay. We'll try this. Let's see how this works when I make a call.
Calling Kimberly wife. Dyer.
You'll see what the audio sounds like.
Hello?
Hey babe, you're on YouTube.
Hi.
Say hey to people.
Hey.
So we're gonna go to dinner?
Yeah.
Sounds good. What time are you heading over there?
Like in a couple minutes.
Okay. All right. Well, I will wrap up here. Bye, babe.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.
So you can see, Bluetooth works great. CarPlay. I mean, this, as much as people like knock this thing, I mean, I get it. Like, it's for a $100,000 car. I mean, it's not their own thing, but I don't know. This car to me is really more about the driving experience. And from that standpoint, where you're sitting in this seat, you got your hands on the wheel, it's about perfect. I really don't know what I would change, honestly. I mean, it's a super cool car, super comfortable. It's a blast to drive. And from that standpoint, I don't know. I'll give you another look at the instruments down in here. You see you got your controls here for where you want the air to come out of. Haven't touched that. We've been really lucky. The weather's been great here. And then you got hot and cold, air conditioning, defrost, front and back, recirc, a level there. Then you got the 6-speed transmission here, which this guy just, I mean, it's just awesome. And then instrument cluster in here. One thing that's cool too, you see, I don't know if you can see that, there's a speedometer here that is like right lined up with my sight line when I'm driving, which I find that really helpful. And it's got, obviously on the controls here, let's see if you can see is you got cruise control on off, which if you're gonna take this thing on a road trip like we did, we went up to North Carolina in it, having cruise control is real nice to just dial it in there. If you look on it, it's pretty good too. I mean, it'll get I think up to 25 miles per gallon on the highway. Now, the way I've been driving, I think it's been a lot less than that. I haven't been tracking it. I should have been. I couldn't figure out a way, like you've got right over here, I don't know if you can see this, you've got the, there's like the time, the outside temperature, or I don't know what that is, inside temperature maybe. Overall mileage of the car, fuel, tire pressure gauges, all that good stuff for all 3 tires. I don't know, like this thing says it's 130, 127. I don't know what that's about. I can't figure out what that time is. It's not 127. I don't know how to reset this, so if anyone knows how to reset that, I'd love that. Obviously, you got the engine start button here. You got your light gauge, turning lights on and off, making the dash instruments brighter or dimmer. And this is the kind of stuff here, I can see people knock them because these kind of feel a little cheap. They feel like maybe they're from another car, but you know, that's the kind of stuff that you the trade-offs for this car. But obviously loving you also have up in here, you got the garage programming, which I don't have a garage, but man, I would love one. And then good old hand built in England Lotus logo. Nice little glove box. You got to keep your phone in there for the CarPlay. And then here's the console back here. I put this little plug in here to charge phones up, and you've also got like a small little cup holder, a little cubby there. So I tried putting a water bottle cup holder, a little too big, so it's like the standard Coke can size cup holder. Couldn't get a vitamin water in there. And then the infamous back seats. You can see they got both of them back there. Seat belts. They got the child restraints, speakers. There's some little pockets back in the corner as well. Back there, little pocket. And then I just love that view of the engine. So pretty. Rearward visibility is not the greatest with the little window here and the huge pillar and back seat, but you just got to keep going faster than everybody else is I think what the intent of this car is. I really would not have thought that I would like red in the interior, but the way this looks, it's just really well done, and I really like it. I mean, it's great. It's definitely a small car. It's compact in here. I don't know if you can really feel that from the video, but it's something that that you really gotta get in to feel what that's like. So let me hop out and I'll show you some more of the outside of the car. You can see getting out of the thing is no problem at all. I was really excited to see that because the last Lotus that I tried to get in and out of was the Elise and the Exige, and that was just not going to happen. It was just way too small. So let me show you one of my favorite features of this car. Little secret passage here in the passenger seat. Go in here, pop that guy, and because the engine is in the back of this car, you have a frunk in the front, or a front trunk, which is super convenient, you know, when you're going on long trips to have a little extra storage space. Let me show you what we got in here. Great for wallet storage. So, yeah, that's the frunk. I don't know how, like, you've got this whole huge front here, and that little bit's the only bit that opens. I don't know. But yeah, it looks like you can, you know, top off your brake fluid and your washer fluid that way, and, you know, store your wallet if you want. But it's just so random. Let me open up the trunk for you guys, see what that's like too. So if you go right in here, more of those fun buttons. Hit that guy. So there's the engine. And there's the trunk. So I mean, it's a pretty good size. You know, I was testing out earlier today. I was able to get my boosted board and my one-wheel pint in here. So that's not too bad. You see the engine here. I love the red top they put on here. Obviously, that's a supercharger up top. And you can see kind of deep down in there. There's the engine itself. Now it's like, man, you can see the coils there on this is the V6. And then the other side there, back over here. Oh, yeah. Pretty engine. And I love this window here, being able to see the Lotus here through the back seats. It's just really cool. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what the back seat is like. See how much leg room's here. I mean, there's, you know, a little bit of space there. I really can't, I'm 6'1". I really can't push the seat up much more than that. I can push it up maybe an inch further. Obviously my wife, when she was sitting in the passenger seat, she could push hers up a good bit more. if she wanted to, and still have maybe a small child in the back seat. You think you could fit back there?
No.
Yeah, you could.
Mm-mm.
But I'm gonna see if I can get in the back seat at all. So let's just see. I haven't tried this yet. I'm gonna take my shoes off. I don't want to be standing on these seats. This is a 6'1" adult in the back seat of the Lotus Evora. I mean, it's really quite spacious when you think about it. It's a pretty good volume. I mean, there are seat belts here. You know, I could maybe try to kind of buckle one side to the other. It's a very long seat belt. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. Yeah, so I mean, I certainly wouldn't recommend this, but it is possible. I do think small kids could fit back here. If this seat, the seat's basically all the way back in the passenger seat right now. That's where my wife had it, but she could definitely push it up more. But all right, let me try to get out of here. At least they have these little buttons to release tab. Okay. Oh. Okay. Oh, I'm out. I'm free. Take another look at these seats. So pretty. I don't know how well you can tell, but the driving position for me is really comfortable. I mean, the seating position, the seat here, the steering wheel, it's awesome. It's perfect. You see the pedals down there? The pedals are like really well spaced out too. You see that? Nice leather on the dash, on the door sills, little cubby there. Oh, let me just turn the car off. I'll show you one thing that's a little quirky. All right. Obviously, so here's what the key looks like. A little different. But if I bring you in here, so unlock the car, put the key in the ignition over here, put it to on. Once it's at on now, put the clutch in, and then there's a start button. Now apparently, if you don't start the car within 30 seconds, you'll have to start that whole process all over again, which is a little bit weird. There's like an immobilizer or something like that that kicks in, which that happened to me a few times. I don't know, like, to me, when you have to put the key in the ignition on the right side and then you've got like a start button on the left side, just kind of awkward to me. Once I put the key in the ignition, I want to turn to start the car. It's just what I'm used to doing. So I don't really know what's the advantage of doing that, but having a push to start is kind of cool. But it's like, I do like pushing the button to start. I love the sound that it makes when you do that. Well, let's see what the horn sounds like. Ooh, it's a cute little horn. So obviously this is an amazing car, and so to me the only thing that's really left is it worth the money? And you know, obviously that's different for every person, but this car starts off at about $100,000, which is similar to a new Porsche 911. And to me at least, it kind of depends on what you want, right? Because this is a lower production car, Lotus makes like 1,500 cars a year. Obviously some of the fit and finish and stuff is not quite as good as what Porsche might be. Now, I haven't driven the brand new Porsche to really compare it, which I would love to do. If anyone's got one that wants me to do a review video, I'll put my email down on the screen here and just shoot me an email, and I'd love to try that out. But yeah, I haven't really compared one, but I could see how the fit and finish on the Porsche is probably a little bit better than this, just because they make so many more cars, and that you get some benefits there with mass production. Whereas with the limited production here, you don't have that. But the styling of this car, to me, blows. The exterior styling is much more exotic. It just is way better to me than the Porsche. So if you're looking for that kind of exotic car look, I think this is a really awesome value for the money. You know, if you want something like, I mean, to me, it kind of looks like a McLaren and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, I'm sure I'll get a lot of comments down below for saying stuff like that, but it just has that look to me. I really like the way it looks. I just wake up, see it in the driveway, and I'm just really excited to see it sitting there because it's just so pretty to look at. But so, you know, that's kind of what it comes down to. It's up to you. And if you're wanting more of a, you know, it's probably a little bit more better fit and finish on the Porsche, maybe a little bit more reliable, but the overall styling itself, you know, maybe not as exotic looking, and you'll see more of them. It's a little more run-of-the-mill. So just kind of depends on what you're looking for. I think they're both fantastic cars, and I would definitely take either one of them in a heartbeat. So huge thank you to Maserati and Lotus of Greenville for letting me borrow this car for the weekend. My wife and I have absolutely loved it. She even got to drive it some today and really had a blast. It fit her well. She's 4'11 3/4. She was still able to drive this thing. I mean, she had to have her foot fully extended in the seat all the way up, but she could do it, which is pretty awesome. And I mean, she was really impressed how comfortable the seats were. She never complained about it at all. I mean, she honestly thought it was more comfortable than the other cars that we have, and she just really liked it. she's behind it, which is good. So, you know, maybe we'll be looking at one of these things in the future, which is really cool. But if you have any other cool cars that you want me to drive and make a review video of, I would love to do that too. Definitely shoot me an email at vanboardbike@gmail.com. I'll put that in the description as well. And love to hear from you, because I mean, just driving this thing has just been so awesome. And definitely shoot me a comment below of what you think about the Lotus Evora. What do you think about it compared to the 911 and other cars that are out there that are in like similar price range to this thing? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that too. With that, I guess it's over now. So I'm gonna go enjoy this guy for a little bit more before I gotta take her back to her home, and I will talk to you guys later. See ya. You know, it's nice to be just hugging carbon fiber. It does feel nice on your chin. Oh, I could just sleep on it. Ah, carbon. So nice.
Awesome.
You're better than me getting this thing going. She left me.